Hello everyone, how you doing? Stomp Our Gamer here, and as Monty Python says, and time for something completely different. We're doing Elite Dangerous, as you can see today. It's a little bit different than my usual Star Citizen video. I got a friend that just started playing Elite on a console, PS4 to be exact, and he needs some advice, some tips and tricks. He's been asking me a lot of questions, and I figured it'd be a lot easier to address everything in a video format. And I figured my audience might appreciate it because I know there's a lot of crossover between Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, and No Man's Sky. So today we're going to cover just some simple things like what types of ships there are in the game, what equipment to put on ships, how to find the equipment, how to kind of plan your build for each ship as you go along, and to kind of plan your expenditures within the game, as well as how to engineer, how to unlock engineers, and where to find them, as well as where to find different materials, etc., for engineering. So we're going to start out today. First, I'm going to show you three websites that I think are absolutely crucial for Elite Dangerous. So we're going to pop out of the game real quick and look at my web browser. So the first thing we're going to go to is Coriolis.io. So you can see, you may have to zoom in, but it's Coriolis.io. And as you can see here, we got a list of all the ships in game, their cost, their size, the possible crew, because again, you can multi-crew, remember this. Um, you know, mass lock factor, which doesn't come into game very much, but all the different stats, its speed, its base boost, its max jump range, the different modules and hard points and internal compartments. So again, we'll just kind of organize it by cost here, and you'll notice basically the cost goes up the bigger the ship gets, for the most part. Some medium ships are much more expensive than, say, an Orca or other medium ships, and again, if you look over here, you're going to see it's mostly due to the internal compartments. The internal compartments are going to largely decide what you can do with a ship, along with some other stuff, such as the base shield modifier, etc. The other website is EDDB.io, so Elite Dangerous Database.io. This is a great resource for many things. We're going to use it for a couple of things here in a couple of minutes. But you can look at this different systems, factions, commodities. You can use it to find a single or multi-hop route for trading. You can use it to find certain commodities if you need to find them to unlock something. You can look at different stations to see what they sell. So you can do a specific search here. Let's say you're looking for a size 5A shield. You can use this to find that. The other website is Inara, INARA.CZ. This has a lot of information where you can look in at the shipyard outfitting. You can look at engineers, which is what we're going to use it for today, which is we're going to show and kind of talk about engineering in a little bit of detail. So we're going to pop back into the game here. And for my specific friend, Roady is his name, we're going to call it. We're going to go ahead and see if I remember my controls. I haven't played Elite. I just launched. I didn't want to launch. I didn't want to launch. Anyway, I haven't played Elite in a year and a half, something like that. Mostly due to the fact that I, frankly, have everything I could possibly want in the game. Fleet carriers came out, but I haven't really had a desire to play a fleet carrier because I don't think the current implementation of fleet carriers make it worthwhile. I mean, frankly, they're expensive. You look at it spending about $4 billion. I have $4 billion. I could buy one if I wanted. But then on top of that, you also have a maintenance cost for fuel and keeping it intact, etc. And I just don't think it's worthwhile. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and come right back out of the station real quick. Flip around or request landing again, because I'm an idiot. And what I want to do, I have to be inside the station to show you. I'm just going to block this shipping lane as I try to remember my controls. Like I said, I haven't played this in a while, so I'm a little rusty. And I just finished doing a pretty good weight workout. I've started doing before I do a video, I have to earn the right to games, so I did about an hour and a half of weights. So I'm a little shaky because today was upper body. Alright, so we're looking for pad 41, which should be... I don't know. I know there's a trick to find the pad. I always lose it. Do-do-do-do. So I just block the way, because I don't care. I'm in solo play. I'm not blocking any players. Whoop. Up, over, grinding that pad. God, I'm horrible. Because I'm also just in a hurry. There we go. That's what we wanted all along. Starship services. Alright. So we're going to go over here to shipyard. And as you can see, I got 10 stored ships. Each shipyard, so base you're going to go at, is going to have various ships for sale. So here we've got a Sidewinder. I think they all have a Sidewinder, which is basically your starter ship. And then they sell various other ships, you know. So we can go through here and you can look at them. And there's lots of different options. As far as the Federal, dropship, gunship, corvette, imperial cutter, etc. It's going to depend if it's a Federal aligned or a Alliance aligned or an Imperial aligned station. So again, here's a couple of good ships at this station. Sidewinder's a starter. The Adder, I wouldn't waste your money on. Diamondback Scout is probably the best what I call taxi. So it's a ship that you can use to travel long distances quickly. You don't need to carry anything. You're literally going from one side of the bubble to the other, or from the bubble to Colonia, and your only concern is getting there quickly. So you can see here, you know, even base, its jump range is 12 light years, and we'll show you a build that I'm using, which I think is significantly more than that. The Dolphin, they're for passenger transport, and that's really the only thing they're good at. I wouldn't waste your time. The Asp Explorer is excellent for exploring. It's good for cargo running when you're first starting out. It's a good multi-role ship. Highly recommended. Federal dropship, don't waste your time. So we're going to look at my stored ships. So here you got my Diamondback Explorer that I was just talking about. It's got a jump range right now unladen of 72 light years, and laden, meaning, you know, full fuel, full cargo, of 67.73. Now I'm using engineering as well as Guardian frameship drive boosters, so that's really some stuff that's kind of advanced. So when you're first starting out, it's going to be very hard to get to this point. But we'll kind of walk you through how to plan to get there, and you know what kind of stuff you're going to use. So you'll see here I'm using some undersized things. Look, something missing? Do you see a shield? I don't need no stinking shield. I'm just going from point A to point B. There, so I am using a shield, 3D. Meh. Anyway, so you got combat, you got a vulture, which is a very good combat ship. It's actually pretty overpowered if you use it correctly. I'm using frag cannons on there. Asp Explorer, like I said, let's see what I'm using this one for. I don't know what I'm using this tank for. Let's see, Collector Olympic Cargo. Looks like I'm just using this to gather materials. KRAIT Phantom, this is the one I use for attacking Thargoids. Type 9 Heavy for carrying cargo. Anaconda, I don't know what I got this one shipped out. I'm using this one for passenger transport right now. So you'll see I got a big old fuel scoop, some first class, business class, economy. I got this Anaconda is probably for exploration, so it's got a 74 jump range. Yep. So you'll see I got some Guardian frameshift drive. Python I'm using for just regular multi-crew. Looks like I'm using this for cargo running, probably doing like bio-waste runs or something like that. Federal Corvette, I mean, this ship is great for multiple things. I'm using it for combat. Big plasma accelerators, beam lasers, multi-cannons. Imperial Cutter that I use for mining. And again, we're going to go over all these builds later on. And then so in each station you can purchase ships, you can look at your stored ships, and if you have a ship somewhere else, like the KRAIT Mark II that I have over here, this is the one I actually use for Thargoid hunting, sorry. My Splat and Splat 2 I use for racing. They're very fast ships. You can transfer them from one system to another. So as you can see here, this one is top speed of 687 with a boost of 916. Very fast, very fun. Alright, so we'll get out of here real quick. And we're going to go to our websites. So looking at this, like I said, everyone starts out in the Sidewinder. And then this is where you kind of have to decide, you know, you're going to use it for your first little missions, a tutorial, figuring out what you're doing. And as you move along into the game, you're going to start earning credits. And then you're going to be like, oh, I want to buy an Imperial Eagle, a Viper, a Cobra. Those are fine. Any of these aren't really a big expense to purchase. And once you buy them, it's, you know, they increase your ability. But once you start getting into these ships, the 1 million, 2 million, and up, really do not purchase unless you know what you're going to do with them. So my advice and a good progression to go would be starting with the Sidewinder, then moving to the Cobra Mark III, and then from the Cobra Mark III, then branching into one of the other ships. Because the Cobra Mark III, as you look here, you can do quite a bit with it. You've got three size 4s, and 3 size 2s, and 2 size 1s. So you could do passenger missions, you could do cargo, you can do pretty much anything you want. So now we're going to talk about outfitting. And then this is where you do have to make some decisions. Am I going to use this primarily for cargo and passenger? Or am I going to use it for exploration? Or am I going to use it for combat? If you're going to use it for combat, you're going to have to sacrifice your jump range. Because as you get combat equipped, you tend to be putting on larger, heavier components and weapons, etc., which is going to reduce your jump range. So if you're going to stay in system, do some bounty hunting, maybe short hops around, it's fine. So we'll do a combat build first because most people do enjoy starting out with that. So we go to the power plant. 4A, you're going to want the best power plant. Thrusters, you're going to want the best thrusters. Frame shift drive, you're going to want the best one. Very simple. You're going to want the best of everything except life support. This is one that's really not worth it. The only time life support comes into effect is if your canopy has been blown out, and then you'll have X amount of time to get to a station. If you're doing combat, chances are your life support is going to be enough to get to a station if you're able to escape. Power distributor, you're going to want the best. Sensors. I tend to go 3A, but it's expensive. You can get away with 3D. Never use E. E is the cheapest of anything, but it's the heaviest of everything. So you really want to stick with D at the minimum. And then for combat here, what do you think you want? A shield. You want the best shield you can get. So we're going to get rid of this one, and we'll make it a 4A shield. Later on, you'll be able to unlock bi-weave shields. What these are is it's a lower cap, higher regen. Very useful, but starting out without engineering, I would go the 4A. And then you're going to want to look at the rest of your stuff. So if you're doing combat, you're going to want an interdictor. This is what allows you to pull other ships out of super cruise. So if you're doing bounty hunting missions and you're trying to, catch wanted felons, you need to get them out of super cruise. This is a good way to do it. So you can have your shield generator. The rest is kind of personal preference, but what I would usually put on here for me personally is I would put a shield cell bank. What this does is this is your shields down to half potential, and you're taking battle. You use your shield cell bank. It boosts the amount of shields you got. You got 552 megajoules towards your shield, so it increases your effective shield capacity, and that's going to help you survive longer. But it's going to generate a lot of heat. So in your utility mounts, if you use a shield cell bank, you're going to want a heat sink launcher. So basically you pop the shield cell bank and you pop the heat sink. So as your heat goes up, the heat sink launcher will bring your heat back down to manageable levels. And then for a ship this small in combat, you're going to want a hull reinforcement, and that's going to give your hull more hit points in structural integrity. And then I would slap on a module reinforcement as well, which is then going to allow you to protect your cockpit canopy and your different modules you've got inside the ship. So we only got 3 more slots left. If you're using a little Cobra for combat, you're not going to want to equip a whole lot of stuff on it. You're not going to want hatch breaker limpets, etc. But you probably will want a collector limpet. Just one, because it's all you really have room for, and a cargo rack. The reason you want these 2 items, the cargo rack is to carry, because this guide is for dummies, it's for starting out. So Joe Schmo with the super everything engineer, this is not a video for you. You already know other ways of doing this. But if you're doing combat and you just blew a ship up, guess what it drops? Materials. Cargo. So instead of having to scoop it yourself, you could have one collector limpet out there going to grab your cargo, going to grab the materials, and bringing it back to you. And then you can also, while it's getting stuff, you can have your scoop out and scoop things so you can pick up all those materials, which you'll later use for engineering, or if it's dropped cargo, you want to pick up the cargo to sell it. And then for your last slot, it's really up to you. A fuel scoop on a Cobra that's kitted out for combat is kind of pointless. A hatch breaker limpet could be handy, but you're not carrying that many limpets because you have a very small cargo rack. So I would probably use a hull or a module, or if you're a really bad pilot, use an advanced docking computer or super cruise assist if you're really, really bad at flying and you're just starting out. So it's kind of like a very easy starter thing. The Guardian stuff we'll get into later, not something you're going to be able to use just yet. So now moving on to the weapons. You know, you got 2 medium hardpoints and 2 small. Now, again, just starting out, you're learning how to fight. Chances are you're going to want to go with something like gimbaled pulse lasers, burst lasers, maybe beam lasers, or multi-cannons. You're not going to really want to focus too much on fixed weapons, even though they're more damage. Because, you know, again, I'm not going to go over controls either, because people use, HOTAS, keyboard, mouse, controllers, as many different ways since this is played on console and PC. But it's just going to be a lot easier to hit your targets overall starting out using gimbaled. That's what that little symbol means. It means that you'll have auto-tracking weapons that stay on target. Now, if they use chaff, which is what you're going to use in your other utility slot, by the way, chaff launcher will make those gimbal weapons miss because they can't lock onto the target. So it's annoying, it's a pain, but it is what it is. So what we're going to use on this build is we're going to use gimbaled. We use pulse lasers starting out. And then your smalls, you're going to use gimbaled multi-cannons because they're going to do more damage to the hull once the shield is down. Alternately, you could use railguns. The reason I like railguns is 1, they bypass shields, and 2, railguns are a hit scan weapon. So what that means is, with multi-cannons or anything else that's fixed, you have to lead your target. With railguns, you put your cursor on your target, and then they have a charging, so they go boom. When they fire, so long as your cursor's on the target, you hit them. Period. So they're very good, very handy for that. Engineering later on, they'll be even more handy. So again, we basically have here a good starter combat loadout for a Cobra Mark III. So you see here we got 124 megajoules of shield, 546 hull integrity, 93 DPS, 4 tons of cargo. You're literally nothing special. This is a bare bones starting out combat setup. Now for a bare bones cargo setup, you're going to do things a little bit differently. So we're going to go over here. We got to take out some of this stuff because we want to not worry about any combat in a starter cargo ship. You're not fighting, you're running. Someone comes after you, you run. So I'm going to get rid of this. Empty. Get rid of the shield. Alright, so power plant. We're going to go with the smallest you can possibly equip, which is a 3D. This makes it very light. Thrusters, 4D. Frame shift, 4A. Basically, you get the idea. You always want to be able to jump, so that's going to be the one you always use. Life support, power distributor, 2D. 3D on sensors. And then we're going to go cargo rack. Cargo rack. Cargo rack. 2A, we'll put a fuel scoop. Here we will put a shield. And again, because you're just starting out, you may take some hits, but you only need, you need to use at least a 3 shield. So, looks like we gotta put a 4D shield on here for now. Now you can run without a shield. Do I advise it? Depends. If you're in a very safe area, you're playing solo, you can drop the shield and run without it, so long as you don't run into things. We'll put another cargo rack here. And another cargo rack for funsies. And then again, this, whatever you feel like putting. So now we're able to carry 42 tons of cargo. And our jump range right now is, if I remember where that is on here. Can you tell? It's been so long since I played. So jump range laden, meaning full cargo, is 21.76 light years. So that's a pretty good jump range for straight up cargo. Carrying 42 tons, just delivering. You're still going to keep the heatsink of the chaff, again, because if you use the heatsink, it drops your signature, harder to lock on, and if you drop the chaff, it's harder for them to hit you as well. The name of the game is running. You're trying to carry cargo. You don't make any money if you get blown up. Period. So it's a kind of good starter one. And like I said, if you want to drop the shield, you can then take it up to... Scrolling. You drop your shield, you go with no shield. Now you got a jump range of 20 laden, 26 unladen, and you're carrying 58 tons of cargo. And then you can use this to make money, bounty hunting. So with the same ship, we've got two builds now. We got a fighting build, and we got a cargo build. Now let's do a passenger carrying build. Pretty much the same as you're going to see with anything else. You're going to want at least one business class, because they tend to be the higher paying ones. And then the rest, you just look at your cargo racks, and instead of cargo, put passengers. So let's do an economy, so you can carry 8, another economy. Keep the fuel scoop. I never really travel without a fuel scoop, even if it's a small one, because would you rather get there or run out of fuel? And with the 2, I would just leave it as cargo, because frankly, let's see, the smallest one, 2E, you only carry 2 passengers. There's very few missions that only need 2 passengers. But at least if you're carrying cargo, maybe you can also at the same time while doing a passenger mission, you can use one of the websites to see, alright, can I make any money carrying 10 tons of cargo? And sometimes the passengers also say like, take me from point A to point B, and then halfway to point B, they're like, oh, you know what I really need? I have a hankering for some jerky. And along the way, you could try to find them some food and make some money that way. And again, it's the same principle. You're not fighting when you pay passengers. They freak out if you take any damage. You're just trying to get from point A to point B cheaply, quickly, and to make your money. So that's now 3 builds on the same ship. So now we'll do an exploration build. So exploration, the name of the game is that jump range. So you just want to scan and go. So we're going to look over here. You want a detailed surface scanner. Don't really need any of these. And we're going to go over here. Let me get rid of this small fuel scoop. And you're going to want a big fuel scoop. Less time scooping, the quicker you keep on going. And then we'll take this. And from here on out, it's really just whatever you feel like putting. But the more you carry, the less your jump range. So I'll put let's do a vehicle hangar. So you can go down to the surface. And you're going to want this later on to gather components. Where's the vehicle hangars? Scrolling. There they are. Planetary vehicle hangar. Get rid of that. You don't want it. Here. We'll put a cargo rack in there because you might find stuff you want to bring. We'll put an auto field maintenance unit so you can repair yourself. Another cargo rack. And so now you see we need a bigger power plant for our limitations. So we'll put a 4D. Jump range is still only 22.4 because we're not engineering. But you got a fuel scoop, you got to scoop quickly, you got a planetary vehicle hangar. So now you can land on a planet, get in your little buggy, go around, pick up materials. You can repair yourself while in the field. You got a detailed surface scanner. We're going to want to switch this out for a frame shift wake scanner so you can scan wake shifts. And you could leave that on there. Or, yeah, I'll probably just leave that on there. And there you've got an exploration build. Now, mining is something completely different. We'll go into that later. I'm going to pop in the game real quick just to make sure it doesn't kick me out for being AFK. Alright, so another thing you can build. So again, you're going to use this to make money. Once you've made money, you move on to your next ship. So the Cobra Mark III can pretty much do anything in the game. You can even do mining. I don't recommend it though because you're very limited in hard points and cargo capacity. So I'd probably stick with the smaller ship of maybe some passengers, maybe some cargo, maybe some combat, maybe some exploration. Then your next step after that, we'll go back to the ships, go to cost. From the Cobra Mark III, that's where you're going to have to decide more specialized ship. Are you enjoying the cargo running and passengers? If so, I would move on to the Type 6 transporter. Are you enjoying more combat? Then I would move to the Viper Mark IV. Or, let's see, in the same kind of price range, the Vulture at $4 million is an excellent purchase. So I would actually skip the Viper. I would save up for the Vulture. And then if you like exploration, your next step would probably be the Asp Scout or the Diamondback Explorer. Diamondback Explorer would be excellent for exploration, and it's lower price due to the high jump range you can get in this thing. So we'll use this first. This is a about $1 million ship. So we'll go down here. We'll go 3D, 4D, 5A, life support 3D. As you kind of get the idea, you're trying to find the smallest, lightest you can put on your ship. Make sure there's no fuel scoop. You want your biggest fuel scoop. So again, this is be for exploration, or, in my opinion, what's very important for you to get early in the game is your taxi. Getting from point A to point B quickly. So look at that. We're already at 37. Get rid of these. We don't want you. So right here, bare bones, just jumping point A, point B. You look at a jump range of 38 without any engineering. So we'll slap on a shield. Smallest shield it'll let us. Which I have a feeling is going to be a 3. Yeah. So we'll slap on a 3D shield. And with the shield, cargo scoop, and being able to carry cargo, you're now looking at almost 37 jump range. Well, 37 without cargo, 36 with. That's pretty damn good. And then, of course, you can equip the exploration stuff, so you can put detailed surface scanner, frame shift wake scanner. And now you can use this ship. We'll put on a vehicle, do a planetary vehicle as well. So now you've got a vehicle, you can go down to the surface, you can pick up materials, you can carry those materials, you got shields, fuel scoop, you're looking at a jump range of 35 light years. You can do pretty much any kind of exploration or just traveling you want to do for very cheaply. The total cost for this build is 11.2 million credits. So again, this is cheaply. With an insurance of 560. So this is a good thing to work towards for a nice little taxi. And obviously, you take out some of this stuff. You say, okay, I can't afford a vehicle hangar yet. Takes it down to 11.1. But again, these kind of D-rated things are worth it. Frame shift drive is the one that you kind of have to do, which is unfortunately, it's expensive. So that's where a lot of your cost is going to come from on this. 5 million just for the jump drive. The fuel scoop's 2.8, but it's worth it. So these two things are worth more than the ship and the majority of the cost of your build. Alright, so let's look at the next ship you could probably move into. If you decided you want to do cargo and you went with the Type 6, where'd you go Type 6? So the reason the Type 6 is good is because of these two size 5s. You can carry a lot of cargo with the Type 5 fuel. So we got 4, 4, 4. We'll slap a 3D on there. Another cargo. Another cargo. You're looking at carrying 104 tons of cargo. Now if you just do just this, you don't upgrade anything else, it's a cost of 1.2 million, but your jump range is abysmal, so it's going to be really hard to make money. So, same thing. 2D power plant, 4D thrusters, 4A frame shift, 2D, 2D. Looks like we still need a bigger power plant, so we'll have to go 3D power plant. So you get the idea. I can use this to kind of put everything together. Get rid of these. That'll help our power requirements. Can we use a 2D yet? No. Okay. So now we're looking at Leyden, 19.5 jump range. Much better. Still carrying 104 tons of cargo. Still got a shield generator for accidentally bumping the station. And it costs you 2.9 million. So for 2.9 million, you're going to make some pretty decent money. And then if you decide you want to do passengers, you just switch these cargo racks to passengers. That's it. If you want to do mining, you're very limited here. If you want to do combat, you're very limited. You only got 2 small hard points. You're not doing mining, you're not doing combat. Really, this ship, the Type 6, is for cargo and passengers. That's it. And then next, we look back here. So, as we look here, so you've got kind of everything you need at this point. The Asp Explorer is an excellent multi-purpose ship. So, this is one with those, you've got 2 medium, 4 small hard points. You got lots of internal cargo slots, lots of utility slots, but its base price is 6.6 million. So it's an expensive ship, but it's a very good mid-range ship. So it's going to allow you to do a lot with it. You can do mining, combat, exploration, anything you want with the Asp Explorer. Same would go for the KRAIT Mark II, which is even more expensive. The KRAIT Mark II is honestly, in my opinion, for fun value, the best buy for your money in the game. It's got 2 size 6 slots here, so you can have a ton of shields for combat. You can have a ton of cargo for cargo carrying. You can have anything you want to do with this ship. But it costs you 44.2 million straight out the door without any upgrades purchased. But it's an amazing ship. It's actually one of my favorite ships in the game, more so than my large ships. And then you've also got the Python, which is another fan favorite. Again, another very good multi-role ship. You got 3 size 6 slots. So you can actually carry more cargo than the KRAIT, but the KRAIT's more maneuverable and faster. So if you're more combat leaning, go for the KRAIT. If you're more cargo carrying, go for the Python. Then we'll go back to the list of ships again. And then as far as the large ships go, you got kind of 3 options here. The Anaconda, the Federal Corvette, and the Imperial Cutter. Federal Corvette is honestly the god of combat. Period. Imperial Cutter, god of cargo. Some combat, it's not as maneuverable as the Federal Corvette. And mining. Personally, I use it as my mining ship. And then the Anaconda is the multi-role god. Truly. It makes an amazing exploration ship with a huge jump range. It's a great cargo carrier with a huge amount of cargo. It's a great combat ship with a good amount of hard points. It can do anything you want. So really, for your first large ship, I highly recommend the Anaconda, and then you can use that to grind your Federation and Imperial rank. Excellent ship, good purchase, worth the money. A great thing to aim for, but as you can see, its base price of 147 million is a lot of credits. Alright, so now the next website. So we kind of covered the ships and some of the simple builds. One of the things you can do here, we'll use the Anaconda as an example. So let's say you slap on a shield generator. This modification button on this website is for engineering. So you can do different things to add to it. Reinforce to increase the shield capacity, thermal resistance, enhance low power, etc. So you could add different modifications to the shield. And if you hover over it, it shows you what it does, what components you need, so refined focus crystals, ruthenium, untypical shield scans, and which engineer does it. In this case, Lee Chung. Lee Chung. Lee Chung. Lee Chung. Do you think you want to unlock Lee Chung? Yes. So again, different options. We'll go with reinforced, just for the most shield, and then you got experimental effects you can then add on to it. So in this case, we're going for a high cap. I would probably do fast charge. So you got a lot of very strong shield with high resistances, and it recharges quickly. So you see here, it's going to take more distributor and all of the different effects on it. So that is engineering in a nutshell. So even without even doing anything, we got 693 megajoules of shield capacity from engineering. So this is reinforced grade 5. Now, that being said, it's the same, weapons. This one, you can add efficient, so it takes less power, different things here. I'm not going to go into too much detail except to say each one has pluses, minuses. Read up, Google, find what you want to use for your weapons or your shields. You could do stuff here like frame shift drive. This I would always do increased range, and then I would do either deep charge or mass manager. And look at that jump range. Without even doing anything else, we're up to 30. Put everything else in here, etc. You get the idea. Engineering really increases the effects, but for each of the engineering stuff, you need to unlock a different engineer. So using this website, Coriolis, you can build your ship out, and then as you decide you want to get into engineering later on in the game, you can see which ones you need to unlock. And let's say we want to unlock Professor Palin. We come here, and we look up the engineers. We look for Professor Palin. Where are you at? Turner, there's Professor Palin. And it tells you he does thrusters and frame shift drives. Click on him. It tells you what he does, what you need to do to get him. So if you jump at least 5,000 light years, you unlock him. What you need to unlock him, so provide 25 units of sensor fragments. And it tells you where he is. His location is on this system, ARQUE. So you click on that, it shows you where the system is, all the different places there, and how you can find it. So you're going to need this for all the engineers, and I really do recommend unlocking most of them. So you're going to start out, and as you unlock all of these, like Felicity Farseer, gain exploration rank of Scout or higher, 1 unit of meta alloys, reputation gain, that's how you gain and increase your reputation to allow you to unlock different levels of all the boosts. And then, so just lots of stuff in here. Great website to find this out. You can look at the different shipyards. So let's say you want to purchase KRAIT Mark II. And it just tells you where it's sold. You can search the different shipyards, blueprints, what you need for each. And you can search for goods. So again, there's another website to definitely play around with. You can look up other commanders. You can look up squadrons, etc. And then stations.eddb, as we've discussed, it's a great way to find out. All right, let's look at, where am I at right now? Reference systems. That's where you're searching. So we're going to search in Hodge. Here we go. We're going to search here, and we're going to look for stations that sell. Let's look for Federal Corvette. Find stations. These are all the systems that sell it in the nearby area, how far away they are, and how recently the information for that location has been updated, and the distance. So very handy. And then let's say we wanted to look up instead somewhere that sells, let's say shield, let's say a 2A shield generator. Find stations. It'll show me where it sells a 2A shield generator. So you can use this to find anything you need. You can use this website to, like I said, figure out where you can find commodities. Because let's say meta alloys. You need to know where meta alloys are. Because remember, you need it to unlock for an engineer. Here's the different places that sell it. You can look for nearby. Darnell's, Progress, and Maya. All these other systems have them. It'll say how much they sell for, the demand, or their supply. So definitely neat stuff, lots of stuff on these 3 websites to play around with. And then in the game, we'll go back here, Starport Services. And as far as how to earn your money, cargo running is one way. You can look here at buying, and it'll tell you that, the supply here is high. You can buy it, and that's below the galactic average. Selling, it's above the galactic average, so it's a good place to sell biofuel. So we can look here, biofuel. I'll show you all the different things they're looking for. If you want to do the mission board, different factions are in the game. As you increase your standing with the faction, more missions become available. You got types where you're scanning, disabling, delivering, killing, so massacring. which is always fun. Assassinations are fun because sometimes they can be pretty easy, or sometimes they can be challenging. If you're working with a friend, see that little symbol down there? Those are wing missions. What that means is it's a mission meant to be done with more than one person. So something like this, delivering 3,442 units of hydrogen. If you're playing with someone on PC, hint hint Roady, by a computer, you could then work with me, who can carry 752 tons of hydrogen fuel, and I have the credits to purchase it, and you just collect your reward of 8.1 million while I do the delivery for you. It's a great way to kind of earn money that way. And then something like this, you'll see hostile ships may be sent against you, mission failure could lead to a fine. So it's got all the different information, and as you look at your rewards, this would be a good one to get. You still get money, and you get materials you need for engineering, rarity grade 5. And you can do the passenger missions, which you probably already know how to do. You go to the passenger lounge, you find them, and you look at them, and it says what the requirements are: business first, economy, etc. And if you look at 27 tourists seeking transport to this system, you want to look up the system and see how far away it is, because if this one's easy, 19 light years. Dirt cheap, easy. You take 3 of them, you got 3 hours to do it, and you're going to make, let's see, exquisite focus crystals, which are grade 5, 83,000 credits, or 2 million if you need the credits. So I actually really enjoy passenger missions for making money, because you can find a bunch going to the same place. It's good. Now, one key thing to be aware of as you look through all these, make sure, one, if it's hostile ships being sent against you, meh, not a big deal. But if they say they may be wanted in one or more systems, let's see, I'm looking for a wanted guy here. Famous explorer. So again, you got these little traits. Does not react well, low value, secretive. So this one's good. You know, you'd want to pick that one up. Anyway, keep an eye here and pick up. If it says he's wanted in multiple systems, if you get scanned by a station, you're going to fail the mission, and the station will fire on you, and you'll die, and that's not fun. Alright, so that's kind of some ways to make money there. You got the universal cartography. So as you're traveling from system to system and you're getting scan data, you'll want to check each system you go to and sell that scan data, because it can be worth a decent amount of money. So you want to keep an eye on that. And then contacts, I think I probably have some money waiting for you. There, if you're doing power play, you can earn some money. You got search and rescue. If you find any of these items, you can then sell them. Black markets, where you can sell stolen goods. Combat bond, if you do a local combat zone, you can sell your bonds there. So really, let's refuel this. We'll go to the shipyard. We'll bring out... which one are you? We'll switch to the Anaconda real quick. And we'll go to outfitting. So again, in-game, outfitting is where you're going to equip the items that you want on your ship. Stand by. There's my nice, pretty Anaconda. So you'll notice there's no weapons. Utility. I have loaded it fully up with shield boosters, etc. because I do, in this ship, I do carry wanted passengers, because I can usually get away with it. And I got a big fuel scoop in case I'm doing long distance passenger missions. First class, because these tend to be the best paying. Business, best paying, etc. And now on the Anaconda, you got this one that's limited to military only. I didn't put anything because I want my jump range. As you can see, I've got 36 point something to 37 jump range, so decent. Little tiny 3D shield that is not engineered, I don't think. Ooh. Let's take a look at the engineering here. So again, once you've unlocked engineering, you can go to Remote Workshop, look at the shield. Select. So the only thing I've got is reinforced, which I probably didn't do because it reduces my jump range. But again, you can do that anywhere you want. So that's all the different engineering, but you have to unlock your engineers to get it, and that's a lot of work. Really, that's about all I can think of for now, guys. If you have any questions, put them in the comment. I'll reply back. Roady, I hope this is a little bit helpful. It's been 45 minutes of me talking at a screen. Um, not much more I can think of covering. It's a fun game. I enjoy it. I prefer Star Citizen myself because I could do space combat, ground combat, mining, exploring, anything I want to do. But this is still a fun game with a lot you can do. And since it's multi-platform, it's pretty good. Advanced maintenance. If you need to repair your artwork or ship integrity, this is where you're going to do it. If you want to carry less fuel for some reason, you can reduce your fuel, etc. So lots of stuff here. If you have limpets, so cargo limpets or a hatch breaker or whatever, this is where you would resupply your limpets. Really, there's a lot to do in the game. If you have any questions, reach out to me.